Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we talk about what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now, today I want to talk about the US asking Russia to mediate in its relationship with its fellow BRICS member Iran. Now, Moscow's confirmed that it's in discussions with Washington about the possibility of it assisting the US in establish common ground with Tehran and is willing to take every possible step to reach a diplomatic resolution of the Iran nuclear issue. Now let's look at how the positions of the parties have changed since 2017, when the US tore up the previous agreement that had been reached, and what are the prospects for any new agreement being reached. Now, the issue of the implementation of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, returned to the agenda almost immediately after the inauguration of Donald Trump and informal contacts between Tehran and European capitals which had taken place prior to this event. However, the Western countries did not demonstrate a willingness to resume the negotiations, according to Mikhail Ulyanov, who's the Russian permanent representative of the international organizations in Vienna. As reported by Yuri Usakov, a presidential aide, the Iran nuclear deal was also discussed at the Riyadh talks on the 18th of February, where it was agreed that a separate meeting would be held on this issue. That was the meeting between the diplomats of Russia and the US. In turn, the press secretary of the Russian President, Dmitry Peskov, assured Russia's readiness to facilitate the negotiation. Russia, being an ally and partner of Iran, is ready to do everything possible to facilitate this progress, he told Zveda TV channel. The JCPOA was discussed during the visit of Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to Tehran, as reported in a statement by the ministry. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website SCOBRICSInsight.com to further develop it. You can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all for watching. Please like also and subscribe, and also keep the comments coming. Love to read the comments, love to respond to them. Now, the statement by the Russian Foreign Ministry emphasised the importance of diplomacy in addressing the challenges posed by the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action on the nuclear programme, underscoring the commitment to explore all avenues for a mutually acceptable resolution. The statement reiterated the view that the current situation, while not entirely Iranian in origin, has been compounded by the actions of some Western partners, calling for a constructive and cooperative approach to address the issues in hand. Now, the 10-year-old Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action was designed to address the Iranian nuclear program and lift sanctions on the Iranian Islamic Republic. Now, the agreement was actually endorsed by the United Security Council Resolution 2231 in 2015. However, 2 years later, it was effectively unilaterally terminated by Donald Trump, who deemed it inconsistent with US national interests. Since the situation has undergone several changes. The current administration has been working to revive the agreement, while the relationship between Iran and Israel has been approaching a state of almost open military conflict, with Jerusalem threatening to strike Iranian nuclear facilities. As analysts observe, Trump's approach to this issue in his second term remains undefined, though it is anticipated to differ considerably from his previous one. Now, the 47th president, as reported by the Western media, is determined to achieve certain specific agreements, particularly in the Middle East. However, his approach to negotiation is always characterised by his customary style of initiating them with pressure and intimidation. However, the challenge for Washington that its military and political resources in the Middle East region have been significantly depleted in recent times and are further likely to be optimised in line with Trump's overall geopolitical strategy. Operation Prosperity Guard against the pro-Iranian movement, the Ansar Allah Houthis, has not achieved any results. In fact, it was a bit of a failure. At the end of 2025, a full or partial withdrawal of American troops from Syria and Iraq is becoming increasingly likely, and that's not going to leave a lot of American troops in the entire Middle East. In contrast, the Israeli lobby, historically advocating for maximum pressure, remains active, if not intensified, in the US. In fact, it was the US that Trump began moving towards negotiation, as evidenced by his signing of a decree on the 4th of February aimed at a complete blockage of Iranian oil exports. According to Grigori Lukhakov, who's a Dean Facility of the Oriental Studies at Moscow State University, believes Israel's unlikely to support any deal that aimed at reducing tensions between the US and Iran. It's in its best interests. I mean, the Israeli military and political leadership will do their best efforts to prevent any rapprochement. They are only interested in creating instability both inside and around Iran, and will continue to overthrow the political system in the Islamic Republic. I mean, on January 21st, Tehran declared its readiness to resume negotiations on the JCPOA, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic emphasised they see opportunities for dialogue and understanding. However, after the above-mentioned decisions of Trump, the Iranian side has indicated that it doesn't intend to negotiate under pressure or under threats. They said there's currently no possibility for direct dialogue between us and the United States on the issue of the nuclear program, said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, at a joint press conference with his Russian counterpart Dmitry Peskov, at 25th. At the same time, both Tehran's position and its goal are quite obvious, says the Orientalist Turol Kerimov. First of all, the party is lifting the economic sanctions that were renewed during Trump's first term. These sanctions relate to the energy, investment and transport sectors. The second part is the complete lifting of restrictions that were introduced by the Bush Jr. administration. The second part of the discussion focuses on security issues, particularly the Israeli government's plan to encourage Iran to curtail its nuclear program. I mean, the US is well positioned to provide security guarantees, as without military support, Israel's ability to remain a significant player in the region is at risk. So it's crucial for Tehran to engage directly on this issue. Now, it's worth noting that since 2017, the situation has changed not only for the US, but also for Iran, and in a negative direction. Therefore, the issue of the nuclear deal is only part of the general context in the formulation of which the Islamic Republic is interested. The Middle East, in Iran's opinion, needs a new security configuration. A new conflict, the probability of which remains high, will bring catastrophic consequences for everybody. So in summary, the issues at hand expand beyond the scope of the nuclear program. I mean, Kirill Senegal shares his perspective, noting that Washington is more concerned about Tehran's regional strategy than its nuclear program. These negotiations have a perspective, and the nuclear program is not the main element. In general, we're talking about Iran's plans for the region, mainly its support for its proxy forces like the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah in Lebanon. The nuclear program merely provided a pretext for the imposition of UN sanctions. I mean, Trump's not particularly interested in particular regime change in Iran. What's important to him is a reduction in its activity. In the current situation, Russia's mediation may provide an extremely important factor in achieving an actual settlement, and both sides actually acknowledge this fact. I mean, the recent shift in the balance of power in the Middle East is likely to impact in the form of potential negotiations. I mean, Russia has the ability and the capacity to mediate and bring the parties together. And it also will work with regional actors such as Saudi Arabia, which also repeatedly expressed support for a resolution. And bear in mind, Saudi Arabia and Iran have recently got onto friendly terms. So Russia and Saudi Arabia working together, playing a mediating role in the negotiation, could be effective in the terms of the final outcome. I mean, Riyadh has been identified by Trump as a key partner for the United States in the region, and as said, it's not interested in a further escalation in the tensions between Israel and Iran or further regional turbulence. So it looks like Riyadh can be used as one of the tools to build a regional security order. And Russia's role as a co-sponsor of this deal can strengthen all of the agreements. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let's see what happens. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share. And if you want to help me out, please click on the thanks button at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for watching.